Afonso was a majestic lion, known for his strength and imposing presence. Yet, life on the savanna wasn't easy. Days of hunting felt endless, and loneliness often seemed to be his only companion. He would watch other animals form groups, families, finding comfort in each other's presence, in every glance, in every step they took together. But Afonso was alone, wandering from place to place, bearing the weight of his invisible crown. He was the king of his domain, but a king without a kingdom to share his burdens, his victories, his journey. With each passing day, he felt the burdens of survival more acutely. Every hunt was a struggle, not just for food, but a battle against self-doubt and exhaustion. Is this all there is? He'd wonder as he prowled under the vast, unyielding skies. While the others had routines, packs, bonds that gave them a sense of belonging, Afonso only had the savanna. It was his kingdom, his vast, lonely farm, but at times, he questioned if this freedom was truly what he desired. Some days, as he watched the sunset bleed across the sky, he was filled with regret. It wasn't just the physical exhaustion that wore him down, but a deeper ache, a yearning for connection and purpose. The endless chase, the solitude. These things began to chip away at his spirit. Afonso wanted more than just survival. He longed for something he couldn't name. A love, perhaps, or a sense of belonging. A reason to believe his journey meant more than just an endless cycle of hunts and silences. He tried to shake off this melancholy by focusing on his strength, his role as a lion. Yet, there was a lesson he was yet to learn. Despite his power, Afonso was discovering that strength alone wasn't enough. Survival wasn't merely about physical might. It was about finding something worth fighting for, a lesson he couldn't yet grasp. His heart grew heavy with this thought, feeling like he was carrying an invisible burden, something beyond the physical weight of his hunts and battles. To distract himself, Afonso poured himself into his daily work. Every hunt was a reminder of his skills, his instincts, but even then, he found himself drifting, caught in moments of hesitation. He'd stop mid-hunt, wondering if this was all there was to his life. Hunting, fighting, repeating. It was as if his heart was waiting for something. A sign, maybe, or perhaps a forgiveness he hadn't realized he needed. This feeling lingered, gnawing at him as he roamed the savanna, searching for a purpose he couldn't name. As the days passed, Afonso's strength was tested again and again. His once fierce determination began to waver, like a flame flickering in the wind. Was it fear or just fatigue? He wasn't sure. All he knew was that each day brought a new question, a new hesitation. The strength that once defined him now felt like a mask, hiding the vulnerability he felt inside. Yet he kept pushing, kept walking, kept hunting because he knew nothing else. Even with all his doubts, something deep inside him kept him going. He sensed that his journey, his hardships, were leading him somewhere, perhaps to a lesson he couldn't yet understand. Though weary and filled with questions, Afonso continued forward, one paw after the other, his heart silently hoping for something or someone to give meaning to his struggle. And as the savanna stretched endlessly before him, he began to wonder if maybe, just maybe, his next encounter would change everything. One day, as Afonso roamed aimlessly, he stumbled upon a goat grazing by the edge of the savanna. The goat noticed his approach and gave him a sharp, almost mocking look. "So, the great lion is wandering without purpose? Huh?" she sneered, her words dripping with sarcasm. Afonso, already feeling worn down, was taken aback. He wasn't expecting anyone, least of all a mere goat, to question his strength. But her words cut deep, digging into insecurities he tried hard to bury. The goat tilted her head and continued, "Strength? What good is that when you're so lost?" Afonso tried to ignore her words, brushing them off as the ramblings of someone who couldn't possibly understand the weight he bore. But her words lingered, echoing in his mind. She had a way of turning every phrase into a jab, questioning every step he'd taken. "You're a king without a kingdom, a hunter without a purpose," she mocked, leaving Afonso feeling smaller than he'd ever felt before. Trying to maintain his composure, Afonso replied, You don't understand. My journey is not something a goat like you could fathom." But the goat just laughed, her eyes glinting with a mischievous gleam. "Oh, I understand more than you think. Freedom is a funny thing, isn't it? Here you are, mighty and free, yet you look more trapped than anyone else around here." Her words hit him hard, making him question if his so-called freedom was truly what he desired or if it was, instead, a cage of his own making. The goat's cynicism was relentless, and she wasn't about to let Afonso's silence stop her. "You lions," she scoffed, "always chasing power, always proving something. But look where it's gotten you. Alone, weary, carrying regrets you don't even understand." Her words seemed to pull every hidden doubt in Afonso to the surface, making him feel exposed and vulnerable. It was as if she could see right through his facade, straight into the fears he kept hidden from the world. Afonso tried to dismiss her, turning away, but the goat's voice followed him, her words sticking to him like burrs. "Why don't you just admit it?" she called out. "You're exhausted. That pride of yours? It's nothing but a weight around your neck." Deep down, Afonso knew there was truth to her words, and it terrified him. He had always believed his strength lay in his pride, his confidence, but here was this goat, challenging that very belief, making him confront a part of himself he didn't want to face. Struggling to hold onto his sense of self, Afonso forced himself to move forward, trying to shake off the goat's words. But as he walked, he couldn't help but replay their exchange in his mind. Her taunts seemed to latch onto every fear, every uncertainty he had. Perhaps, he thought, this cynical goat had come into his life to test him, to make him question what he had taken for granted. And though he hated to admit it, part of him knew he wouldn't forget her words anytime soon. As the savanna stretched out before him once again, Afonso was left with a bitter taste of doubt. He had hoped for reassurance, for someone to understand his burdens, but instead, he was given criticism, a harsh mirror reflecting his deepest fears. But perhaps this encounter was only the beginning. Maybe he thought it would lead him to someone who could offer him a different perspective, a different path, and a new source of wisdom. As Afonso continued his journey, the encounter with the goat left him feeling raw, his confidence shaken. He wandered further into the savanna, seeking solace in the vastness, hoping the open plains would give him a sense of peace. It was in this moment of silent contemplation that he noticed an owl perched high in a twisted acacia tree. The owl's gaze was calm, observing him with an almost knowing look. As Afonso drew closer, the owl spoke, her voice gentle yet wise. "Lost, are you?" Afonso sighed, looking up at her. "Is it that obvious?" he muttered, almost to himself. The owl tilted her head, her eyes reflecting a timeless wisdom. "Strength is not merely in the body, Afonso," she began, her voice soothing. "True strength lies in resilience, in learning from hardship, and in choosing to rise again, even when the path feels endless." Her words touched something deep within him. It wasn't about the battles he fought on the outside. It was the battles within that truly defined him. The owl continued, sensing his doubt. "Life, you see, is a journey of lessons. Each hardship is a stepping stone. The savanna is harsh, yes, but it's also a teacher. When you hunt, you learn patience. When you fall, you learn to rise. Nothing is wasted." Afonso listened intently, feeling a strange comfort in her words. It was as though each sentence lifted a weight from his heart. He began to see that perhaps his struggles were shaping him, crafting a story he had yet to fully understand. Taking a deep breath, Afonso shared his fears. "I'm starting to doubt my path. What if I'm not strong enough?" The owl chuckled softly, her feathers ruffling with gentle amusement. "Strength isn't the absence of doubt," she replied. "It's the ability to keep moving forward despite it. Those who seem invincible are often those who have faced the most, persevered through trials." Her words felt like a balm, easing the sting of the goat's cynicism, reminding him that doubt was part of growth. "Look around you, Afonso," the owl continued. "The trees, the rivers, the mountains, all have faced storms, droughts, challenges beyond their control. Yet they stand, adapted, stronger. Her words painted a picture in Afonso's mind. The savanna itself was a testament to resilience, each part of it carrying scars and stories. Afonso felt a surge of understanding. He, too, was part of this cycle, a symbol of survival with his scars as badges of honor. The owl's wisdom went beyond words. It was a call to action, an invitation to see his journey with fresh eyes. Every day, choose to learn, to grow, she advised, and remember, Afonso, even the strongest have moments of doubt. It's what you do with them that matters. Afonso nodded, absorbing her guidance, his heart feeling lighter, his doubts less sharp. The savanna no longer seemed as bleak. It was a place of lessons, of growth. As Afonso prepared to leave, the owl gave him a final piece of advice. Whenever you feel lost, remember, you're part of something bigger. Life is more than mere survival. Her words lingered in the air, a reminder that his journey held meaning beyond what he could see. With renewed resolve, Afonso stepped away, feeling as though he carried a piece of the owl's wisdom within him, ready to face whatever lay ahead. And somewhere deep down, he sensed another encounter was waiting. In the days that followed, Afonso found himself reflecting on the owl's words. He had newfound strength, but doubt still clung to him, a quiet shadow he couldn't shake. During one of his walks, he came across an old, weathered turtle basking in the sun by a small watering hole. She looked up at him, her eyes filled with a wisdom tinged with sorrow. "Ah, a lion seeking answers," she murmured, almost as if she'd seen this all before. Afonso approached cautiously, sensing something different about her. "Do you believe life has purpose?" he asked, hoping for reassurance. The turtle chuckled, a dry, almost bitter laugh. "Purpose? Life is full of disappointments, young one. The savanna is relentless, and dreams often fade like the morning mist." Her words were stark, almost harsh, a cold reminder of the world's unforgiving nature. Afonso felt a pang of unease. This was a perspective he wasn't prepared for. Seeing his reaction, the turtle softened, her gaze turning contemplative. "It's not that life lacks purpose, but it isn't always what we expect. We walk, we fight, we struggle, only to find that not every battle can be won, not every dream realized." Afonso pondered her words, realizing that his journey might not always lead to triumphs. "So, what's the point then?" he asked, his voice laced with frustration. The turtle sighed, "The journey itself, young lion. Sometimes the lesson lies in the struggle, not the victory." Her words struck a chord in Afonso, though they were difficult to accept. "But what of love? Of belonging?" he asked, almost pleadingly. The turtle shook her head slowly. "Love, like freedom, is a fleeting thing. You may find it, but it may not stay. Acceptance is the true lesson here, Afonso. Learn to accept life's fleeting gifts without clinging to them." Her wisdom was a sobering reminder that even the sweetest parts of life could slip through his grasp, and perhaps that was okay. The turtle continued, "There's strength in resilience, but there's also strength in surrender. Sometimes the bravest thing is to let go." Her words carried a gravity that Afonso couldn't ignore. Letting go was not in his nature. He was a lion, after all, a symbol of power and control. Yet, here was this ancient creature, urging him to embrace a different kind of strength, a quiet, peaceful acceptance of life's impermanence. Despite her pessimism, there was a lesson in her words that resonated with him. She wasn't saying to stop trying, but to understand that not everything was within his power. "Expectations are the seeds of regret," she warned, her voice barely above a whisper. Afonso felt the weight of her words settle on him. He began to realize that part of his struggle was not just survival, but his desire for control over an uncontrollable world. As he bid the turtle farewell, her words stayed with him, a haunting echo of truth and acceptance. Afonso had come seeking clarity, but he left with a bittersweet understanding. Perhaps, he thought, life was not about conquering every challenge, but learning to dance with the uncertainties that lay ahead. And somewhere in his heart, he knew that his journey was far from over. The days grew heavier as Afonso continued his journey, carrying the words of the owl and the turtle with him. One night, overwhelmed by a profound sadness, he lay down beneath the stars, questioning his purpose. It was in this moment of vulnerability that a soft, radiant light appeared before him, and from it emerged an angel, her presence serene and comforting. Afonso blinked in awe, feeling a sense of peace wash over him, as though the weight of his doubts were being lifted. The angel's voice was gentle, filled with compassion. "Why do you carry so much sorrow, Afonso?" she asked, her gaze warm and understanding. Afonso sighed, feeling safe to share his burdens. "I'm lost," he admitted. "I've fought, I've learned, but the path only grows harder." The angel nodded, her expression thoughtful. Strength, Afonso, is not just in enduring hardship. It is in finding faith, even when there seems to be no reason to keep going. It's about believing in something greater than yourself. Her words touched a place deep within him, sparking a flicker of hope. "Faith," he whispered, almost in disbelief. The angel smiled. "Yes, faith in the journey, in yourself, and in the purpose beyond your understanding." Afonso felt tears well up as he realized he had been carrying the weight of his battles alone. The angel's presence reminded him that he wasn't as isolated as he felt. There was a divine force guiding him, if he was willing to trust it. The angel continued, "Your heart, Afonso, is capable of more than you realize. Forgiveness, love, hope. They are gifts that grow within you when you embrace faith." Her words were a balm to his weary spirit. He began to see that his journey was not just about survival, but about discovering these gifts within himself. This realization felt like a release, as though he was finally allowing himself to let go of the burdens he had carried. As the angel prepared to depart, she left him with a final blessing. "Remember, Afonso, strength lies not in holding on, but in the courage to keep believing, even when it seems hopeless." Her words resonated deeply, filling him with a renewed sense of purpose. Afonso watched her fade into the starlit sky, his heart lighter than it had been in a long time. For the first time, he felt a peace that came not from his own might, but from a sense of faith. With this newfound sense of purpose, Afonso rose, feeling a quiet strength within him. He had seen many struggles, but now he understood that his journey wasn't just about physical battles. It was about embracing an inner strength that went beyond the savanna, beyond the visible challenges. Faith, as the angel had taught him, was his anchor, a light in the darkness guiding his steps. Afonso looked up at the stars, feeling a bond with something greater, something unbreakable. His journey was far from over, but for the first time, he felt ready to face it with unwavering resolve. In the days that followed, Afonso moved through the savanna with a new sense of purpose. The lessons from the owl, the turtle, and the angel resonated within him, each one shaping his perspective, his journey, and his heart. He understood now that his strength was not just physical but rooted in resilience and faith. Every step he took was a testament to his determination, his spirit unyielding in the face of adversity. He had learned that his freedom wasn't about escaping struggles but embracing them as part of his story. With each sunrise, Afonso greeted the challenges with courage. Hunting became less about survival and more about honoring his journey, each moment a reminder of his inner growth. He found joy in the simplicity of his actions, in the rhythm of the savanna, in the quiet yet powerful connection he felt with the world around him. This was his farm, his domain, where he was free to learn, to grow, to become the lion he was meant to be. And in his heart, he no longer carried regret, only gratitude for the lessons life had offered him. But even in his strength, Afonso remained humble, remembering the wise words of the owl and the turtle. Life wasn't about victory alone. It was about understanding the power of each experience, each trial. He approached each challenge with respect, knowing that his journey was a continuous work in progress. He had embraced a balance between perseverance and acceptance, a delicate dance that gave his life meaning. For Afonso, the journey itself had become a symbol of love. Love for the journey, for the struggles, for the moments of triumph and failure alike. There were times when doubt crept back in, but Afonso now knew how to handle it. He would pause, remembering the angel's words, and center himself in faith. He knew that true strength was not in denying doubt, but in choosing to believe despite it. Each time he chose faith over fear, he felt his spirit grow stronger, his heart more resilient. This was a new kind of freedom, one that came from within, unshaken by the storms of the savanna or the harshness of life's lessons. Afonso's story became an example for others, a testament to the power of persistence and inner strength. Animals across the savanna began to look up to him, inspired by his courage, his calm, his unwavering resolve. He was no longer just a lion. He was a symbol of determination, a beacon of hope for those who struggled. His journey wasn't just about his own growth, but about sharing the lessons he had learned, offering wisdom to those who sought it. In his strength, they saw their own potential for resilience. In his heart, Afonso knew that his journey was ongoing. He hadn't reached an end, only a new beginning. Each day, each challenge, was an invitation to grow deeper, to understand more fully the lessons life had to offer. He was free from the chains of doubt and regret, moving forward with an unbreakable spirit. The savanna was vast, unpredictable, and filled with trials, but Afonso was no longer afraid. He welcomed each experience, knowing that it was part of his story, a story of strength, love, and the power of perseverance. As Afonso roamed the savanna, his gaze fixed on the horizon, he felt a deep peace settle within him. His journey had become a reflection of his faith, his courage, and his love for the path he had chosen. And though he knew that new challenges awaited, he walked forward with a quiet, powerful resolve. His heart was full, his spirit unbreakable, and his journey, though far from complete, was richer than he could have ever imagined. As Afonso's story shows, every challenge holds a lesson. Every struggle shapes our path. Ask yourself, what challenges have you faced that made you stronger? How can you embrace faith, resilience, and wisdom in your own journey? Take that first step today, embracing your own inner strength. And remember, life isn't just about survival. It's about growing, learning, and transforming. If you're ready to keep discovering more about life's hidden strengths, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Let's walk this path of resilience and wisdom together.